So let us start by invoking the blessings of the Acharyas. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण राधां सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांतो राधा कांतो नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So it's my humble request to all of you that you should all buy Ishopanishad, because I think we'll spend at least 2 months on this book. Then you will have to give all the CBAs, OBAs and BMS. Okay. Everybody understood? Can everybody raise hand?
Yes,
Who will
Prabhuji.
buy Ishopanishad? Suran Mataji will buy. Ravi Prabhu will buy. I know. Okay, thank you. So in the last session, we read the invocation prayers. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. So how the absolute supreme absolute truth is completely complete, and all the emanations, he is the source of all the things in this world. Parayana Para Prakriti. We are all coming from him, and whosoever is coming from him, he is also completely complete. And we discussed in our brainstorming sessions that how we feel complete by performing bhakti, and what is the reason why I feel complete. The reason is because it's like fish in the water. When fish goes back in the water, then it understands that we have, basically it becomes happy and joyful, because that is what is its natural position. Just like the natural position of the sugar is to be sweet and the salt is to be salty, the the child is to be in the hands of the father and mother. Similarly, the natural position of the soul is to serve the Lord, is to remain joyful in that service. So that is a natural position, because we are coming from him. So that's why we have to serve him. So our Guru Maharaj says that Krishna consciousness is very simple. God is so great and we are so small. So we just have to serve that great person. And in that process, we become completely happy and satisfied. So this is what we discussed in the invocation. And then we started the first mantra, Ishavashamidam Sarvam, Yatkinchat Jagatyam Jagat, Tena Taktena Vanjita, Mahagrida, Kasasvidhanam. So here in this verse, this Ishopanishad is actually one of the Upanishads. So in our Vedas, there are Puranas, there are Upanishads, there is Shruti and Smriti. So in Smriti, there is Vedas, Puranas, and Vedanta Sutras. And then in Shruti, there is the hearing, the Bhagavatam part, the Brahma Sutras and Bhagavatam. So in this verse, we read that actually the proprietorship of everything is of Krishna. So even the Vedas are coming from Krishna. They are the breathing of the Lord, and they are Aparushya. Like Vedas, we have not created. I cannot write Vedas. You cannot write Vedas, or even our Guru Maharaj can also not write Vedas. He's just repeating the word of his spiritual master. So these are the sound vibration form which is directly coming from the Lord. So that is the authenticity of our disciplic succession, because ultimately the message is given by Krishna, and all the acharyas, they are just repeating it on the order of their spiritual master. So that makes it a authentic disciplic succession. The knowledge is very pure, and it is transmitted in an unbroken disciplic succession. And this knowledge cannot be given by a conditioned living entity. Why? Anybody knows? Anybody wants to try? Why a conditioned living entity like you or me cannot write Vedas? Because we are covered by 4 defects. What are those? Yeah, Ivanshu, bro. Good. I'm already answering it.
I raised my hand accidentally, to be honest. I think
Accidentally.
somebody pressed.
This professor wanted to put you
But
on spot. So, what are the 4 defects?
I think I'm just making a guess. So
No, no.
we are not the winner of our Indri and Man. So definitely whatever we'll write, it will be conditioned, it will be biased, it won't be perfect.
Yeah, because
So
we have
it,
imperfect senses. Basically.
hmm,
The
so it,
biased senses are imperfect. Yeah. Sorry.
and
Good.
secondly, it Upanishad is such an how should I say, like it is such an elevated document that it is based on it the entire society is formed. So it has to be written by someone who is a very elevated personality.
Hmm. Yeah. Because the
So
entire society will be like working on those guidelines. So those guidelines has to be given by somebody very elevated. Nice,
yes,
nice. Thank you.
I
Anybody
think
else?
that's it.
There are
That's it.
3 more defects. One, Primanshu Prabhu told that we have imperfect senses. Yes, Mataji, good.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, second is to be in illusion
Hmm.
and imperfect senses,
Hmm.
then cheating propensity.
Yeah, there is one more.
Prabhuji,
Imperfect senses, Primanshu Prabhu already gave. He is certain to commit mistakes.
committing.
Committing mistakes. So, for example, we do so many mistakes. Sometimes we forget something. Sometimes when we give exam, we never get 100%. Even if we prepare for 1 week. So, thinking of exams, I am reminding Ravi Prabhu that you have to complete your VMA. VMA is pending for first attempt. Okay, and I've received from Pragya Mataji and Prabjit Prabhu. Somebody reminds Akshat also. So we are making so many mistakes. Whenever we wake up, we do something, we keep something unclean, or we deal with somebody, we do some mistake. So we keep committing mistake because our senses are imperfect and we are subject to illusion. So illusion means we think what it is not what it is. For example, somebody becomes angry, we start identifying with that anger. But actually that is not reality. Reality is that we are out of that illusion, but we are just part and parcel of Krishna. Devi Esha Gurmai Mam Maya Duratya Mame Viye Prapadyante Maya Meta Rantite. But yeah, like the anger for good thing is good. Just like Hanuman burnt entire Lanka just for sake of Sita, or Arjuna fought the battle because Krishna wanted him to fight the battle and kill all the demoniac kings. So all the right things we have to accept, but we have that's why we should have this discrimination or intelligence of discriminating the right from the wrong, and then we should act on that. Okay. So in this verse, basically, the proprietorship is given that Krishna is the proprietor of everything. Krishna is the proprietor of us also, of our relatives also, of our house, of our car. Everybody, everything belongs to Krishna. All the like material things and subtle things which we can see around us, they all belong to Krishna. And the second thing is we have a quota. So Krishna has given us some certain things which we can use in his service. So ultimately, we have to understand and recognize that quota, and we have to function in our life in that quota. So when we utilize these things in service of Krishna, then we become satisfied and contented. For example, we are using this laptop in service of Krishna. We are using Google Meet in service of Krishna. We are using our voice in service of Krishna by reading Ishopanishad, or we are using our ears by hearing Ishopanishad. So all this is pleasing to the Lord. We are acting within our quota. So, so, so in the next verse, we will read that if we keep on acting in our quota and we keep on serving the Lord, we keep on chanting the holy name, we keep on hearing, then in such a way we can live for hundreds of years. And if we don't live in that way, then we are entitled to go into the hellish planets. So this is the sutra. This is the Paribhashya Sutra of this Ishopanishad. Ishavarsham sarvam yat kinchat jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjida magrida tas kasya suddha. And also, while operating within our quota, we should not encroach others' quota. So we should motivate and encourage them to operate in their own quota also. We should not try to artificially encroach them or basically dominate them. We should serve them and encourage them. So this is mantra 1. I think we read maybe 2 pages, so we'll finish that. And today we'll read the introduction also. Introduction we left last class. And this proprietorship, so in the purport, Prabhupada is actually expanding that why proprietorship is very important, to recognize Krishna as the proprietor, because it will finish all the fights, all the greed, all the lust, because ultimately we will understand, okay, this belongs to Krishna, so let us use this thing in Krishna's service. So Prabhupada is giving example of capitalists and laborers, how they are always fighting, and by understanding this proprietorship, they can resolve their fight. So I'm reading from In Modern Society. In modern society, there is always a great quarrel between the laborers and the capitalists. This quarrel has taken an international shape, and the world is in danger. Men face one another in enmity and snarl just like cats and dogs. So these days, fights happen very often. Why? Because this is the age of quarrel. This is Kali Yuga. Pranidal Payusha, Kalavasmin Yogejana, Manda Sumanda Mateo, Manda Bhagya, Padrit. Actually, the fights could not happen very easily in Satyuga or Treta Yuga. But now people are short-tempered, that's why very easily. Sri Ishopanishad cannot give advice to the cats and dogs, but it can deliver the message of Godhead to man through the bona fide acharyas, holy teachers. The human race should take the Vedic wisdom of Sri Ishopanishad and not quarrel over material possessions. So that is the special benediction of human life, that we can understand, we can read this Ishopanishad and understand, but cats and dogs cannot. So that's why they are saying that at least we can give this message to the human race and not quarrel over petty things. One must be satisfied with whatever privileges are given to him by the mercy of the Lord. There can be no peace if the communists or capitalists or any other party claims proprietorship over the resources of nature, which are entirely the property of the Lord. So this sentence is very important, that one must be satisfied with whatever privileges are given to him by the mercy of the Lord. So one should be satisfied with whatever little Krishna gives. So our main focus should be our service, because the result department is Krishna department. So we should always be satisfied with whatever little Krishna gives. The capitalists cannot curb the communists simply by political maneuvering, nor can the communists defeat the capitalists simply by fighting for stolen land. If they do not recognize the proprietorship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the property they claim to be their own is stolen. Consequently, they will be liable to punishment by the laws of nature. Nuclear bombs are in the hands of both communists and capitalists. And if both do not recognize the proprietorship of the Supreme Lord, it is certain that these bombs will ultimately ruin both parties. Thus, in order to save themselves and bring peace to the world, both parties must follow the instructions of Sri Vishnu Krishna. Yeah. So just like we say, right? Keep a family which eats together, stays together. Family which prays together, enjoys together. So here Prabhupada is saying that if laborers and capitalists both recognize the proprietorship of the Supreme Lord, then they can resolve their fighting. Otherwise, both are having so many dangerous equipments, so many dangerous weapons. Anytime war can happen, and it will be very, very harmful to both of them. So that's why this philosophy should be very deeply understood. That proprietorship of everything is Krishna, and we have to act within that, with that understanding. And that understanding can only come when we feel connected to Krishna always on the soul level. So next paragraph, human beings are not meant to quarrel like cats and dogs. They must be intelligent enough to realize the importance and aim of human life. The Vedic literature is meant for humanity and not for cats and dogs. Cats and dogs can kill other animals for food without incurring sin. But if a man kills an animal for the satisfaction of his uncontrolled taste buds, he is responsible for breaking the laws of nature. Consequently, he must be punished. So recently somebody asked me that if one animal kills us, then will he get the sinful reaction? Because when we kill the animal, will we get sinful reaction? Anybody knows the answer to this question? Anybody else apart from Pragya Mataji? I know she knows all the answers. Anybody wants to try? Question. Yeah. Question is that whether animals accrue sinful reaction when they kill human beings, or human beings accrue sinful reaction when human beings kill animals or human beings. Yes. Anybody else? I think they both have spoken, so only 3 people are left. Okay, go ahead, Manchu.
So basically, I think it depends on the natural propensity of the animal. If it's a carnivore and if you're going in its territory, then it is bound to kill you, right? So, but it's not a natural
Hello,
propensity for.
No, you did not understand the question. You are answering some other question.
You're saying, are we bound, like, will we get a sinful reaction if we kill an animal, right?
Yes, yes.
So my answer is yes. If it's a deliberate action from our side, then the answer is yes. We should get a sinful reaction because knowing that. But if it's a matter of self-defense, then I don't think it will carry a sinful reaction. So
Oh,
that is why we need to know the circumstance in which we are acting.
oh, interesting. And what if the tiger eats us? Will tiger?
Yeah, it's its natural propensity to eat someone who is in its territory, right?
So he will
He's
have
just
sinful reaction?
No, he doesn't. Because if you are a tiger, if you're a lion, it is his natural propensity to attack other animals and take them as food, right?
Yeah. So does everybody agree with the Ivanch Bro's answer? Simran Mata, you want to contribute here? Anything? I'm just checking who all is present, because all of you already have videos off. Okay, I understood. So why animals don't accrue sinful reactions? Because they don't have intelligence, and God has created them like that. But human beings have intelligence. They have the free will to question, to understand what is to be done, what is not to be done. But animals cannot understand. So whosoever has intelligence, then so that's why it is said that once you have the knowledge, then it's very important to follow the knowledge, to apply that knowledge. Otherwise it comes on to you. So that's why having too much knowledge is also not so good. Very soon, too much knowledge too soon is also not very good. So yeah, this is the correct answer. But ultimately, like if we kill tiger in any circumstance, I think it is sinful. Yeah. But that is interesting. The situation also matters. I'll confirm on that. So the next paragraph, who will read? Am I projecting correct? Where is the projected screen? Hmm. This one. Okay. Yeah, anybody wants to read this? Ravi bro, you want to read? You have to open our camera. Just a reminder.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, bro. Yes.
Okay, this is standard of life, right?
Yes, bro. Yes.
Standard of life for human beings cannot be applied to animals. The tiger does not eat rice and wheat or drink cow's milk because he has been given food in the shape of animal flesh. Among the many animals and birds, some are vegetarian and others are carnivorous, but none of them transgress the laws of nature, which have been ordained by the will of the Lord. Animals, birds, reptiles, and other lower life forms strictly adhere to the laws of nature. Therefore, there is no question of sin for them, nor are the Vedic instructions meant for them. Human life alone is a life of responsibility. Hare
Hmm.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I got my head shaved today at Hardoi. Is it looking good?
Yes, very yes. You
I
can
keep
read
on
that.
doing it every day.
Yeah, yes, Ravi. Every month you should. That's
Yeah,
nice.
Hare Krishna. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get more Krishna conscious people in Lucknow. Hare Krishna.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Even Prabhupada also used to shave his head every week from
Yeah, yeah.
his disciples.
Great, great. So if I'm able to follow him, that's lovely.
Yes, no, yes. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. God bless all the Vaishnavas.
It is wrong, however, to think that simply by becoming a vegetarian, one can avoid transgressing the laws of nature. Vegetables also have life, and while it is nature's law that one living being is meant to feed on another, for human beings, the point is to recognize the supreme Lord. Thus, one should not be proud of being a strict vegetarian. Animals do not have developed consciousness by which to recognize the Lord, but a human being is sufficiently intelligent to take lessons from the Vedic literature and thereby know how the laws of nature are working and derive profit out of such knowledge. If a man neglects the instructions of the Vedic literature, his life becomes very risky. A human being is required to recognize the authority of the Supreme Lord and become his devotee. He must offer everything for the Lord's service and partake only of the remnants of food offered to the Lord. This will enable him to discharge his duty properly. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.26, the Lord directly states that he accepts vegetarian food from the hands of a pure devotee. Therefore, a human being should not only become a strict vegetarian, but should also become a devotee of the Lord, offer the Lord all his food, and then partake of such prasadam, or the mercy of God. Only those who act in this way can properly discharge the duties of human life. Those who do not offer their food to the Lord eat nothing but sin and subject themselves to various types of distress, which are the results of sin. Hmm. So, does anybody know what is this verse, Bhagavad Gita 3.13? So basically, this verse says that if you don't eat after offering to the Lord, then you are just eating sin. But when you offer the food to the Lord, then you are actually eating the remnants of the Lord, which is tasted by the lotus lips of the Lord. So that makes everything blissful. And here this line, so a lot of lines are very important in this paragraph. One line is, if a man neglects the instructions of the Vedic literature, his life becomes very risky. So as long as you are performing within the Vedic paradigm, then your destiny is good. Okay. So what are some of the examples to follow within the Vedic paradigm? For example, you offer the food, right? That is foremost example. You chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. You follow the 4 regulative principles. You chant 16 rounds. So all these keeps us protected under the internal energy of the Lord. And this line is also important, that human being should recognize the authority of the Supreme Lord and become his devotee. So whatever we should give to the Lord. Yat karoshi yadasnashi, yat jihoshi dadasi yat tapassasi kaunteya tat kurushu madarpan. And we should give it to the Lord in the consciousness of devotion. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati bhakti uparitam asnami prayatatma. So Krishna himself is saying that when you offer these 3-4 things with devotion to me, then I accept them. And he is using this devotion word twice. So when we offer everything to Krishna, especially Bhoga to the Lord with devotion, then it becomes prasada. And that is the mercy of God. So these are very, very simple things which makes our life spiritual. Like the spirituality factor increases in our life, because the food we eat is the most important. That forms the gray cells of our mind also. And if you have nice prasadam, which is in Noda goodness, if you drink milk, then basically your gray cells, they will help you to think about spiritual life, how to advance in spiritual life. Ahar, there is one verse also. Ahar. Just a second. आहार शुद्धो सत्व शुद्धि सत्व शुद्धो स्मृति ध्रुवा स्मृति लंबे सर्व ग्रंथि नाम विप्र मोक्षा. From purity of food comes purity of mind. From purity of mind comes constant remembrance of God. And from constant remembrance of God, one becomes free from all bondage. One becomes liberated. Okay. Yes, Prabhu, we want to ask something? Yeah, take it. So, anybody? Simran Mataji, you want to read the last paragraph?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Right. And the rule which we have is like the person who is speaking, he has to switch on his camera. So if you can follow it, then it will be nice.
The root of sin is deliberate. The root of sin is deliberate disobedience to the laws of nature through disregarding the proper, proprietorship of the Lord, disobeying the laws of nature or the order of the Lord brings ruin to a human being. Conversely, one who is sober, who knows the laws of nature and who is not influenced by unnecessary attachment or aversion is sure to be recognized by the Lord and thus become eligible to go back to Godhead, back to the eternal home.
Thank you, Bhavik.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. So this paragraph is also very important, that ultimately we should be aware of the material laws of nature and the proprietorship of the God. Then we can be very sober. So sober, there is a definition in Bhagavad Gita Devanasmin yatha dehe kamaram yogam jara tatha dhyanta praptir dhiras tatra na muyati. So sober in Hindi we call dhira. Okay, so now we'll do an activity that like you have to give one incident where you acted as a sober person, or maybe and one incident where you did not act as a sober person, and how you will apply this verse to improve your soberness. Okay, understood? Yeah, everybody understood the activity?
Prabhuji, can you repeat again it?
So sober, you all of you understand, right? Like sober means a person who can understand, who can see things, basically, who is very tolerant. So you have to give one incident where you acted as sober and one incident where you did not act as sober. And how you will apply this verse in improving your soberness, sobriety. Okay. Yeah, you can take 1 minute and then we'll start. Hare Krishna. So Himanshu Prabhu wants to go.
Okay. So, I mean, sober is like when you're taking decisions, like for example, when you're not being alcoholic. I think that is one very good definition of being sober. And there were
Yes.
instances in the past, like when I have not been sober, um, but deliberately I would try to avoid those days, like which are associated as very holy.
Okay. Okay. So how will you apply this verse to avoid those instances?
So in general, like I think the person should be sober, and I think um, he should try to refrain from having grains on Ekadashi. That is, I think, that is one way. And otherwise, also whatever things one should avoid, for example, meat eating or having alcoholic drinks, I think that a person should avoid on all days, irrespective whether it's a holiday or not.
Yeah, that is the minimum. And then after that comes Ekadashi and all those things. Yeah. Actually, sobriety, the highest level is to always be aware of Krishna. Always be aware that we are a spirit soul, we are not this body. And that will help us to elevate from the three modes of material nature. So yeah, as you said, Ki Vedic. So this verse is mentioning that we have to follow the Vedic paradigm, Vedic principles. So following the four regulative principles is a must. We have to be very enthusiastic in following these four regulative principles. Then our life will be much easier. Yeah. Anybody else? Pragya Mata, Ravi Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhu, I have already shared once. Uh, just a second. I'll put my camera on. Yeah, I've shared once that my boss in my earlier company was shouting at me for no reason. And she was shouting for pretty small reason. And I could have easily reciprocated. I could have easily blasted her. But I kept quiet. I kept Hare Krishna in my mind. I just put Hare Krishna in my mind, in my heart. And just I listened to her, and then she said, get out. And then I went out and I just sat down. And after some time, things happened as what Krishna wanted. They faced a lot of problems and I came scot free. So, but at that point of time, I just kept Krishna in mind and I just, uh, although I was able to reciprocate, but I did not because I thought Krishna has told me to be Sthit Pragya. One should be Sthit Pragya.
Yeah. And we should increase this compassionate energy more. So even if somebody like scolds us, we should think of their welfare. We should think that this person is struggling so much with his anger, with his emotions, that may Krishna give him some mercy, some more intelligence. So that is the compassion of a sadhu. Paradukha dukhi. He is actually, when he sees the suffering of other souls, he himself also suffers by imagining, by understanding their suffering. So thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Yeah, so dealing with the emotions is very important because right now our soul is covered by so many layers of mind and negative emotions, right? So the emotional awareness is very important, and then basically slowing down and cultivating goodness is important. That is also a part of sobriety, and in that way we have to help others also.
And Prabhu, I'll share one more thing today. Something happened.
Yeah.
I am in a place called Hardoi near Lucknow, and we are starting a Nasha Mukti Kendra. Basically, it is a drug de-addiction center, would be supported by Government of India, would be sponsored by Government of India. एंड सो पीपल आसपास के जो लोग हैं, गांव के आसपास के लोग आ रहे हैं, जो लोग नशा कर रहे हैं कई सालों से, कोई शराब पीता है, कोई नशा करता है, कोई दारू, व्हाटएवर, ऑल टाइप्स ऑफ ड्रग्स पीपल टेक इन विलेजेस इन स्मॉल प्लेसेस. तो हमारे बगल में भी जो एक था रेस्टोरेंट जहाँ पे हम लोग खाना खाते हैं, वो भी आया था आज ओनर की, जी मैं 30-35 साल से शराब पी रहा हूँ, रोज आधी बोतल पी जाता हूँ, मेरा कोई कंट्रोल नहीं है. तो उसको फिर हमने यहाँ पे तुलसी जी का रखा हुआ एक अर्क हमने आयुर्वेदिक में खरीदा है, कुछ तुलसी का मिला के अर्क रखा है. हमने कुछ ड्रॉप्स उनको देते हैं हम, एंड वो उसने आज बोला कि मैंने आज अर्क पिया तुलसी जी का, तो मुझे आज बहुत एक्टिव फील हो रहा है, नहीं तो मैं दिन में बहुत सुस्त रहता हूँ और वो रहता हूँ, 30 साल से मैं शराब पी रहा हूँ, बट टुडे आई एम फीलिंग सो हैप्पी. तो मैंने बोला चलो वेरी गुड, आप रोज ये पिया करो और धीरे धीरे आपकी कम हो जाएगी शराब. तो आई जस्ट this happened today itself near our place.
Very nice. क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली द सोल इज आनंदमय अभ्यासा. सोल को तो प्लेजर चाहिए, और अगर उसको आप असली प्लेजर नहीं दोगे, डिवोटी एसोसिएशन, प्रसादम, तुलसी महारानी, then automatically it will go towards material pleasure. But that is not the real pleasure, that is suffering. So just like a child, when a child is eating mud, so unless you give him good, nice kheer prasadam, he will not leave the mud. So somehow we have to find a substitute. Then only these people will. And we have to address the problem at the root so that it doesn't come up again. So that can be only solved by Krishna consciousness. When you give them prasadam, when you cultivate nice, good friendship with them, be compassionate on them. So slowly, it will be taken care of. Okay, we'll read the introduction now. I think no, yeah. In my case, I was thinking that like not encroaching on others. So even like although Krishna is the proprietor of everything, but there is a secondary proprietor also. Like there are things. For example, this book is there, so my name is written on this book. So I am the secondary temporary proprietor. We should understand the secondary proprietor also while we are dealing in this world. So for myself, I was thinking that I'll be conscious that I am operating within my quota, and whenever I take things from other brahmanas, I have to give them back nicely, because we know the story of this. I'm forgetting the name of that lizard. No, yeah, I'm forgetting the name of that king that he actually gave some cows in charity to brahmanas, and one of the brahmana took other brahmanas cow. So that king became implicated in that sin. So we should be sober, and we should be conscious and aware of whose property we are taking. So I was thinking in that, and also like we have to serve others. We have to increase our mood of service by serving others, and then we will be able to motivate other people to operate within their quota. So that is the Vaikuntha consciousness, right? Like we are reading from Dhruv Maharaj that the person who is eligible to go to Vaikuntha, he has this consciousness of serving others. He is always looking forward how to help others and how to connect them with Krishna in a very, very humble service. Yeah. Yeah, Nriga, King Nriga. So that king is the name of the king is King Nriga. So he was supposed to give charity to all the brahmanas, and somehow like there was some confusion within two brahmanas whether they received the cow or not, and that's why because of their confusion they cursed the king. So we have to be very careful while taking anything from brahmanas. We have to return those things in time. So that is my lesson. And so this verse makes life very simple, right? Like we don't need to worry about other people's quota, and there are many verses in Bhagavad Gita also, right? That if we perform our own duty and we don't really like worry about the other person's duty, then we can advance a lot in spiritual life according to our varna and ashram. So if we perform within our quota and we connect everything with Krishna, then that will give us a lot of satisfaction and contentment in that relationship. So yeah, so that's how I will try to apply this verse. Okay, we'll read the introduction if nobody else has anything. Okay. So this is a lecture given by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and he's telling about Vedas. Okay. So Pragya Mataji, you want to read this paragraph?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Ladies, ladies and gentlemen, today's subject matter is the teaching of Vedas. What are Vedas? The Sanskrit verbal root of Vedas can be interpreted variously, but the purport is finally one. Veda means knowledge. Any knowledge can accept is Veda. For the teaching of the Vedas are the original knowledge. In the conditioned state, our knowledge is subjected to many deficiencies. The difference between a conditioned soul and a liberated soul is that the conditioned soul has four kinds of defects. The first defect is that he must commit mistakes. For example, in our country, Mahatma Gandhi was considered to be a very great personality, but he committed many mistakes. Even at the last stage of his life, he assisted warned. Mahatma
His
Gandhi
assist,
don't
his
he
assistant
assi-
want.
His assistant warned Mahatma Gandhi, don't go to the New Delhi meeting. I have some friends and I have heard there is danger. But he did not hear. He persisted in going and was killed. Even great personalities like Mahatma Gandhi, President Kennedy, there are so many of men make mistakes. To err is human. This is one defect of the conditioned soul. Hare Krishna,
Yeah.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. So that's what, like, whatever knowledge we attain, that is defective because of our imperfect senses and because of our defective propensity. So there, Prabhupada is giving example of Mahatma Gandhi. Although he always carried Bhagavad Gita, he did the Dandi March, he wanted to make like India independent. There are many principles which were really good, which he followed. He followed the principle of celibacy also. But ultimately, he was not a very good. He did not have very good understanding of Bhagavad Gita, and that's why like people, his own assistant warned him not to go, but he did not listen and he got killed actually in that way. So we are defective. Like even great people also are defective unless you understand Bhagavad Gita under the guidance of a pure devotee. We remain defective. Shrotriyam Brahmanistam. So that's why we have to apply ourselves and get rid of all the conditioning and then surrender to the Supreme, to the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprasnena sukhega upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshana. Yes, Prabhu, go ahead.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu, but this cannot be. I mean, I don't disagree with Prabhupada ji, but my way of, I am just trying to understand that is this a mistake? Because he was destined to die in that way. Krishna has made his death in that way. So that is a mistake or not a mistake? I mean, he had, that was the way it was. He was destined to die, so he would make mistake. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong somewhere.
Yeah, but if you are receiving other signals also, so his assistant also has Krishna in his heart, right? So he's informing him, he's warning him that something bad might happen. So our Guru Maharaj says when the weather forecast says that it's about to rain, then you should carry umbrella, right? So there is always, whenever there is some danger or something, we should take precaution because this material world is a dangerous place. Padam padam yat vipadam na tesha. For example, I'll give you one example that there was, yeah. So there was a farm community in Chikmagalur in Delhi, in Bangalore, in South India, and there were like 3-4 families living there. So what happened one day, and these 3-4 families had kids also, like 2 kids were there in each family, and this land of the farm was near a river. So the village, like there was a cyclone warning actually, and like the villagers communicated it to them. Okay, this cyclone is going to come in 3-4 hours. Please vacate this land. Please vacate this area. And they were like 3-4 families. They told that okay, Krishna will take care. Why should I listen to you? And after 3-4 cyclone came and everything became submerged. And somehow like the elder people they could rescue, but one of the families, one kid was actually floating in the water in the cyclone. So although Krishna is there, destiny is there, but we have to be conscious of the indications, right, which other people are giving. Other people are not foolish. Somebody is giving something. So we should be very, very aware, and we should not think that everything will be taken up by Krishna. Actually, Krishna indicates us through other different people. That's why we have to be humble and conscious of other people also, of other people's input. Sometimes other people might be non-devotees, sometimes might be devotees, but we should always listen to them. Many times Prabhupada considered the words of non-devotee as inspiration of Krishna. So we should not, that's the way pure devotee sees actually. He sees Krishna and not devotees. Okay, Prabhu?
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
I'm thinking that you already know answers to these questions. You are just
No, Prabhu. I was honestly asking you because Prabhupada is writing that this is a mistake, so it made me click that.
Ah,
I mean, yeah, that way.
thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. So next paragraph, Himanshu Prabhu, you want to read?
हाँ, एक second. Another, sorry, the third defect, right? Hello.
Yes, Prabhu. Go ahead.
Sorry, another defect से पढ़ना है या third defect से पढ़ना है?
Another defect. I have highlighted.
Another defect to be illusion. Illusion means to accept something which is not Maya. Maya means what is not. Everyone is accepting the body as the self. If I ask you what you are, you will say, I'm Mr. John, I'm a rich man, I'm this and I'm that. All these are bodily identifications, but you are not this body. This is illusion.
Yeah. Can you read the next paragraph also?
The third defect is the cheating propensity. Everyone has a propensity to cheat others, although a person is fool number one, he poses himself as very intelligent. Although it is already pointed out that he is in illusion and makes mistakes, he will theorize, I think this is this. But he does not even know his own position. He writes books of philosophy, although he is defective. That is his disease. That is cheating.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So ये Maya is very tricky actually. मतलब we are accepting what we are not. Maya. Ma means not and ya means accepting. So accepting which is not there as the truth. So for example, this body. So every all the attachments with our body that actually comes into Maya. All the bodily identifications. These are the sources of misery. And when we at the time of death, all the attachment to the body will create suffering for us, create pain. So these are very high principles. Obviously, like slowly we have to make progress in cultivating our spiritual conception. And somehow when we slowly refine ourselves with our heart, our layers, then those bodily attachments, they can be dovetailed into spiritual attachment. Anasaktasya visyan yatharamupiyunjita nirbandha krishna sambandhe yukta vairagyam uchyate. Anasaktasya visyan. So we should not be so much attached to these sense objects. Yeah, but we should utilize everything in service to Krishna. Utility is the principle. Yatharam upayunjita. Nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagya uchyate. So that is yukta vairagya. And when we follow yukta vairagya, then slowly all the bodily attachments will be dovetailed in Krishna's service, and then we'll be able to act on the spirit soul platform. Okay. The third, ye padh liya aap. Lastly, our senses are imperfect. We are very proud of our eyes. Often someone will challenge, can you show me God? But do you have the eyes to see God? You will never see if you haven't the eyes. If immediately the room becomes dark, you cannot even see your hands. So what power do you have to see? We cannot therefore expect knowledge Veda with these perfect senses. With all these deficiencies in conditioned life, we cannot give perfect knowledge to anyone, nor are we ourselves perfect. Therefore, we accept the Vedas as they are. Yeah, so we have to purify our senses. When we perform this devotional service, then our ear, then our eyes, mind becomes spiritual. Then we can see God, we can see that we are a spirit soul. Okay. So this is very interesting introduction actually. Yeah. So who wants to read next paragraph? Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
You may call the Vedas Hindu, but Hindu is a foreign name. We are not Hindus. Our real identification is Varnasrama. Varnasrama denotes the followers of the Vedas, those who accept the human society in 8 divisions of Varna and Ashrama. There are 4 divisions of society and 4 divisions of spiritual life. This is called Varnasrama. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, these divisions are everywhere because they are created by God. The divisions of society are Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, Brahmanas. Refers to the very intelligent class of men. Those those who knows what is Brahman, similarly the Kshatriyas, the administrator group, are the next intelligent class of men. Then the Vaishyas, the mercantile group. These natural classifications are found everywhere. This is the Vedic principle, and we accept it. Vedic principles are accepted as axiomatic for there to be any mistake. That is acceptance. For instance, in India, cow during cow dung is accepted as pure, and yet cow dung is the stool of an animal. In one place, you find the Vedic injunction that if you touch stool, you have to take a bath immediately. But in another place, it is said that the stool of a cow is pure. If you smell cow dung in an impure place, that place becomes pure. With our ordinary sense, we can argue. This is contradictory. Actually, it is contradictory from the ordinary point of view, but it is not false. It is fact. In Calcutta, a very prominent scientist and doctor analyzed how analyzed cow dung and found that it contains all antiseptic properties.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you. Please don't forget to switch on your camera while you are reading. So here, Prabhupada is saying that Varnashrama, right? So generally we think that we are Hindu or we are father or anything, basically. We are a son or we are a member of a society. But actually the true nature what we have is which Varna and which Ashrama do we belong to. So Varnas can be four: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So that is our natural propensity. What is our natural propensity? That we have to understand. That is the layer which is covering our soul. And when we operate on that natural propensity, then it becomes easy to execute our duties and to live our life and earn our livelihood. And basically, then we can perform bhakti also with a peaceful mind. So that's why Prabhupada is saying that our real identification is Varnashrama. So for example, if we are in Ashrama, if we are in Grastha Ashrama, then we have to do the duties of Grastha Ashrama nicely. We have to give protection to all the family members in the form of consciousness, in the form of food, and all the basic necessities. If we are in Brahmacharya Ashram, then we have to hear and chant the holy name of the Lord, and then sacrifice that for the Lord. So like that, basically, according to the ashrama, we have to fulfill the duties of that ashram. And this cow dung example is very famous, right? So generally, we don't feel that cow dung is very pure, but in Vedas it is given that cow dung is the most pure thing. And even this conch shell, which in every temple they are using to blow the conch, right? This conch shell is the bone of the yak, and this chamar is the tail of the yak. So all these things are coming from animals, and they are the most pure thing. This is mentioned in Vedas, so we have to accept the authority of the Vedas. So even in Shastra, it is also given that the Vedas are our mother, and Krishna is our father. So we have to accept the authority of the mother. Then we will understand the father. We will know the father. So that's why understanding Vedas is very important, and we have to accept the authority of Vedas. Thank you very much. Okay. In India, if one person tells another, you must do this, the other party may say, what do you mean? Is this a Vedic injunction that I have to follow you without any argument? Vedic injunctions cannot be interpreted, but ultimately, if you carefully study why these injunctions are there, you will find that they are all correct. So generally ऐसा होता है ना कि ये क्या शास्त्र में लिखा है जो तुम मेरे को बता रहे हो जो मैं करूँ. तो पहले मतलब in India it used to be like this कि people used to follow Vedas blindly, but now nobody knows what is Vedas, how to follow Vedas. So we should follow the injunctions of the scriptures. Yah Shastra Videmutsrijya Vartate Kamakarata. So if you don't follow, then you will be destined towards hellish planets. In the 16th chapter, there is a verse in Bhagavad Gita. The Vedas are not compilations of human knowledge. Vedic knowledge comes from the spiritual world, from Lord Krishna. Another name for the Vedas is Shruti. Shruti refers to that knowledge which is acquired by hearing. Shruti means Shushrusho, right? The Shru word is through the ears. It is not experimental knowledge. Shruti is considered to be like a mother. We take so much knowledge from our mother. For example, if you want to know who your father is, who can answer you? Your mother. If the mother says, here is your father, you have to accept it. It is not possible to experiment to find out whether he is your father. Similarly, if you want to know something beyond your experience, beyond your experimental knowledge, beyond the activities of the senses, then you have to accept the Vedas. There is no question of experimenting. It has already been experimented. It is already settled. The version of the mother, for instance, has to be accepted as truth. There is no other way. So actually, this is very important, that accepting the authority. Then the process becomes very nectarian and very fast progress happens. I have I can forward you, like I gave one session on the importance of accepting the authority. So I'll forward you maybe today in the group. So Prabhupada is giving example of mother also, and Vedas is Shruti. So Vedas are also like mother. So if you accept the authority of Vedas, then you can understand and know more about Krishna, about the Father. Because everything has already been done, all the experiments, all the analysis. So whatever we do in our chemistry lab, blue litmus test, red litmus test, all these things have already been done by these saintly personalities like Asita, Devala, and all the Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya. So everything has been put down after a lot of analysis, after a lot of receptivity from their spiritual master. So better accept those and basically follow those. Oh, this is very long introduction. The Vedas are considered to be the mother, and Brahma is called the grandfather, the forefather, because he was the first to be instructed in the Vedic knowledge. In the beginning, the first living creature was Brahma. He received this Vedic knowledge and imparted it to Narada and other disciples and sons, and they also distributed it to their disciples. In this way, the Vedic knowledge comes down by disciplic succession. It is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita that Vedic knowledge is understood in this way. If you make experimental endeavor, you come to the same conclusion. But just to save time, you should accept. If you want to know who your father is and if you accept your mother as authority, then whatever she says can be accepted without argument. There are three kinds of evidence: Pratyaksh, Anuman, and Shabda. Pratyaksh means direct evidence. Direct evidence is not very good because our senses are not perfect. We are seeing the sun daily and it appears to us just like a small disk, but it is actually very far larger than many planets. Of what actually is this scene? Therefore, we have to read books, then we can understand about the sun. So direct experience is not perfect. Then there is Anuman, inductive knowledge. It may be like this, hypothesis. For instance, Darwin's theory says that it may be like this, it may be like that. But that is not science. That is a suggestion and it is also not perfect. But if you receive the knowledge from the authoritative sources, that is perfect. If you receive a program guide from the radio station authorities, you accept it. You don't deny it. You don't have to make an experiment because it is received from the authoritative sources. Okay, so this is the importance of authority, that you don't need to experiment. And this knowledge is being coming from Brahma to Narada, Narada to his disciples. So it is our duty that we take this knowledge forward to the next generation also. Evam parampara praptam evam rajarchayo vidu sakalene mata yoganashta parantava. Otherwise yoganashta will happen, and then so many eager people will not receive this knowledge. Okay, so I think we'll not read this more. You can read it on your own, but this is very important actually for your fundamental understanding that what are Vedas, what is the way of acquiring knowledge, pratyaksha, anumana, shabda, and why we should read scriptures daily. On a daily basis, we should read. Then only we will understand that what is happening in our life, why is it happening that way. So that's why it's very important to read scriptures, because generally we are understanding things based on our own pratyaksha, based on our own mind, but the reality is something else. So that can only be understood by the process of shabda. When we hear from the bona fide sources, then we will understand the reality. Okay. Yeah, this is very important actually. Introduction. Okay, we'll read maybe one or two more paragraphs. Vedic knowledge is called Shabda Praman. Another name is Shruti. Shruti means that this knowledge has to be received simply by oral reception. The Vedas instruct that in order to understand transcendental knowledge, you have to hear from the authority. The transcendental knowledge is knowledge from beyond this universe. Within this universe is material knowledge, and beyond this universe is transcendental knowledge. We cannot even go to the end of the universe, so how can we go to the spiritual world? Thus, to acquire full knowledge is impossible. Okay? Hearing from the authorities. Stotriam Brahmanistam. This is important. So because this sound vibration is directly coming from the spiritual world. Golokera Premdan Harinam Sankirtan. So if you want to attain the Prem Dhan of Golok Vrindavan, then we have to do Harinam Sankirtan. And this Hare Krishna mantra is directly the sound vibration from the spiritual world. There is a spiritual sky, there is another nature which is beyond manifestation and non-manifestation. But how will you know that there is a sky where the planets and inhabitants are eternal? All this knowledge is there, but how will you make experiments? It is not possible. Therefore, you have to take the assistance of the Vedas. So ultimately, we have to go back to spiritual world. And how do we know how it looks like? And we can experience the spiritual world in this material world also by performing devotional service. So whether we are experiencing it or not, how do we know? By reading those descriptions, by hearing from authorities about those descriptions. This is called Vedic knowledge. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we are accepting knowledge from the highest authority, Krishna. Krishna is accepted as the highest authority by all classes of men. I am speaking first of the two classes of transcendentalists. One class of transcendentalists is called impersonalistic Mayavadis. They are generally known as Vedantists led by Shankaracharya. And there is another class of transcendentalists called Vaishnavas like Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Vishnu Swami. Both the Shankara Sampradaya and Vaishnava Sampradaya have accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shankaracharya is supposed to be an impersonalist who preached impersonalism, impersonal Brahman, but it is a fact that he is a covered personalist. In his commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, he wrote, Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is beyond this cosmic manifestation. And then again, he confirmed that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, is Krishna. He has come as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. He particularly mentioned the names of his father and mother. So Krishna is accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead by all transcendentalists. There is no doubt about it. Our source of knowledge in Krishna consciousness is the Bhagavad Gita, which comes directly from Krishna. So actually, Shankaracharya is a pure devotee of the Lord. But his purpose was not to teach pure devotion. His purpose was to reinstate the position of Vedas. Because Lord Buddha, when he came, he saw that people were eating meat in the name of Vedas. So Lord Buddha denigrated the Vedas. And then after Buddha, Shankaracharya came, he reinstated the Vedas. That's why he had to preach impersonalism, although he was a pure devotee. He has written Bhaja Govindam prayers, right? So there is a purpose to every incarnation of the Supreme Lord. And Science of Self-Realization is a good book to understand this sequence. So Lord has a plan for everything. Lord has a plan for each one of us. We have published Bhagavad Gita as it is because we accept Krishna as he is speaking without any interpretation. That is Vedic knowledge. Since the Vedic knowledge is pure, we accept it. Whatever Krishna says, we accept. This is Krishna consciousness. That saves much time. If you accept the right authority or source of knowledge, then you save much time. For example, there are two systems of knowledge in the material world, inductive and deductive. From deductive, you accept that man is mortal. Your father says man is mortal. Your sister says man is mortal. Everyone says man is mortal, but you do not experiment. You accept it as a fact that man is mortal. If you want to research to find out whether man is mortal, you have to study each and every man, and you may come to think that there may be some man who is not dying, but you have not seen him yet. So in this way, your research will never be finished. In Sanskrit, this process is called aroha, the ascending process. If you want to attain knowledge by any personal endeavor, by exercising your imperfect senses, you will never come to the right conclusions. That is not possible. So this aroha paddhati is also important. So our aroha means ascending and avroha means descending. So our process is a descending process where we hear from self-realized devotees, and then our heart also becomes enlightened by the knowledge of those self-realized devotees. That is avroha, descending process. Okay. And in Nectar of Instruction also we know about 4 levels of intelligence, right? Anybody remembers? Because this description is like that. Anybody remembers? In the first verse, we read about 4 levels of intelligence which people have. Nobody remembers? Or nobody is listening?
I don't remember, Prabhu. Is it first verse of this, or you're talking about NOI?
NOI, Prabhu, NOI.
NOI
Nectar of
first
Instruction.
verse was okay.
The purport Prabhupada is talking about 4 levels of intelligence.
Okay. No, I
We
don't.
have to be grounded in what we have already studied. Then only we will
Yeah,
be able
first
to make.
verse talks about the Vedas. I mean, the Vachu Veda and the 5-6 Vedas which are there. That is the
Yes.
main shloka about controlling the 5 Vedas, like the body, mind, and the body, mind level. There are Vachu Veda and other Vedas.
Yes,
That is the
Prabhu.
first verse, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And in
But
the
mm,
purport,
mm.
how does the purport start? Do you remember that? Prabhupada starts the purport by telling a conversation between Sukdev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj is asking that what is the use of atonement? We have done like people atone and people again commit the same mistake. For example, a person, he commits robbery, he bankrupts the bank.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That was a conversation which he starts with, yeah.
So what is, and then he goes to jail. He's atoned. He's breaking so many stones. But again, after coming out of jail, he is again doing robbery. So what is the use of this atonement? So in that context, Prabhupada mentions there are people of 4 levels of intelligence. Pragya Mataji, you also don't remember? Or you are not there?
Yes, Prabhuji.
You remember these 4 levels of intelligence? So the highest,
प्रभुजी
yeah, go ahead.
प्रभुजी वो वाली जो जिसमें जो लेस इंटेलिजेंट होते हैं वो मतलब जो प्रभुजी मोर इंटेलिजेंट होते हैं वो सुन के ही सीख जाते हैं और जो लेस इंटेलिजेंट होते हैं वो देखकर और जो फूल होते हैं वो एक्सपीरियंस करके कुछ ऐसे हैं प्रभुजी
हाँ जी, हाँ जी, हाँ जी। तो फर्स्ट लेवल है जो बस हियर करके ही सीख जाते हैं। अगर गुरु ने बोला है कि नॉन वेज नहीं खाना है, नॉन डिवोटी से एसोसिएट नहीं करना है, तो वो नहीं करना। हिमालयस पे जाना है। तो दैट इज द रेफरेंस कि मतलब आप जो हियरिंग कर रहे हो अपने आप ही आधी चीजें खत्म हो जाती हैं, आधी माया फिनिश। और अगर उसके बाद हियरिंग में समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, उसके बाद फिर इंसान दूसरों को देख के समझता है। तो इसमें प्रभुपाद जी वो बता रहे हैं कि अगर हम दूसरों को देखें कि हर इंसान एक एक्सटेंट के बाद मर रहा है, तो हम भी कभी ना कभी मरेंगे। तो वो हो गया हमारा सेकंड लेवल ऑफ इंटेलिजेंस, दैट जस्ट बाय सीइंग द वर्ल्ड वी लर्न। And the third level of intelligence is that we experience it ourselves. For example, illicit sex that causes diseases. So if we don't understand just by hearing, then we do it ourselves, and then we experience disease. Then we understand, okay, we should not do. Generally, we don't understand because we are doing these mistakes in so many millions of births. But if we understand, then we don't do. Then that is the third level of intelligence. But even after suffering, if we don't understand, then that is the fourth level of intelligence. So that is the foolish. Prabhupada says rascal. Prabhupada's favorite word is rascal. He's a rascal.
Yeah, he
So
uses his maritime. He uses it so wonderfully. Prabhupada always says rascal, rascal number one, fool number one.
yes. And we all are rascals actually. So many mistakes we have done.
Very true.
We
Very
keep
true.
repeating those mistakes. So let us do an activity, understanding what type of rascal we are. If you are comfortable, then tell me one activity, one thing which we are repeating and we want to improve on. Okay, I will also tell mine also. Generally, there are a lot of tendencies in our subconscious mind, in our subtle body, which we are not able to overcome. And when you live with devotees, then those things you will be able to understand. When you are given some love, then that devotee will correct you. Then you will understand, okay, this is not me actually. This I am carrying from past births. This condition. So let us do this activity. Like if anything, if you have in your heart which you want to go get rid of. Okay. I know today, like the devotees are not so active, and maybe I'm also doing little slowly. But yeah, let's. Anything comes to anybody's mind, which anybody wants to improve on his achar, his speech, his conduct, mode of service, false ego, pride, anything. We are so much full of all these things.
I want to control my Vacho Vega.
You want to control your speech. Yes. Thank you, bro. Speech is very important, actually. And the more we serve the spiritual master, the speech can be pleasing to the Lord. Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priyam hitam chaya swadhyaya abhyasnam chaiva vangmayam tapochyate. So these are the proper austerities of speech. So you can read from scriptures, you can recite from scriptures, and then you can speak pleasingly. And most important is to train ourselves to slow down, to cultivate mode of goodness. Then we can. I think all of us need to improve. Speech is a very high standard actually. There is nothing stopping us to improve on that area. Yeah. And in my case, I would like to improve on emotional intelligence, because this emotional intelligence is a very buzzword these days in corporate also, because all the leaders, if they are emotionally aware, they can deal with their subordinates, right? And the most important thing of emotional intelligence is ourselves. We are slowed down and we are grounded in our connection to other devotees. We are very, very, very aware and slowed down. And the magic of emotional intelligence is if you are aware of your own emotions, then you can understand other person's emotion also. So in this fast world, cultivating emotional intelligence, that is also a challenge. But if we follow nicely, if we try to cultivate more of goodness and take care of ourselves on all three levels, bodily and spiritually, emotionally, then we can achieve this. Okay. Okay, Pragya Mataji, you want to read this? I think nobody else wants to share, right? Everybody is a pure devotee.
Yes, Prabhuji, I want to share.
Oh, great. I thought you were saying that, yes, I'm a pure devotee. Somebody should be there who says, okay, I'm a pure devotee.
Yeah. Pragya Mataji is a pure devotee. She
No,
remembers
Prabhuji,
first verse of Ish and NOI. Excellent. I'm impressed.
Yeah, she did not. She also did not remember top of her head, but like eventually she was able to figure
As
out.
the
Yeah.
conversation was going on,
Yeah.
our mind relates to things. That is the way I think.
That is the
In
power of
fact,
association, actually. Like I am also
yeah,
not.
when you associate.
When you are in this association, there is like Krishna is there. The degree of presence of Krishna is multifold, actually. Yeah, go ahead, Matri. Go ahead.
Yeah.
प्रभु जी क्या हमें रीड करना है पहले या हम बताएं जो हमें
हाँ
इम्प्रूव
जी,
करना है?
बता हाँ जी, बता दीजिए आप।
तो प्रभु जी हमारी एक फ्रेंड है, तो हम उन्हीं से सबसे ज़्यादा बात करते हैं, हमारी बचपन की फ्रेंड है वो, तो वो यहीं पर ही पास में रहती है। तो जब भी हमें गुस्सा आता है तो हम मतलब बाहर ऐसे किसी पे गुस्सा नहीं करते हैं, ना घर में ना बाहर, पर हमें लगता है कि हम कभी-कभी उनको ही हल्के में ले लेते हैं, क्योंकि वो हमारा गुस्सा सुन लेती हैं। वो रिएक्ट नहीं करती, पर वो सुन लेती हैं, तो कभी-कभी हमें ऐसा लगता है कि हमें बहुत ज़रूरत है, क्योंकि हम छोटी-छोटी बातों पे भी उन पे बहुत ज़्यादा ही कर देते हैं। क्योंकि वो बस हमारी सुन लेती हैं इसलिए।
Very nice. Amazing, amazing. This is an amazing improvement. Actually, we should never take devotees for granted, especially those devotees who are very close to us, who are helping us in doing our services. They are like diamonds for us. Like without these diamonds, we will not be able to carry on with our carry on with our devotional service. So even yeah, so as devotees like you speak, even it helps me also to introspect, right? So for example, in my life, my wife is there, my parents are there, my in-laws are there. I cannot continue my duties without their assistance. So I should never take them for granted. I should serve them and nicely please them. Yeah, and especially the person to whom you are revealing your heart. That is the most,
Yeah.
like Chetan Charan Prabhu says, that this is the highest opulence of this material world. If you can discuss your heart with a devotee, that is spiritual world actually. There is no other more like deeper happiness in this material world. Like generally, it is considered that sex life is the highest happiness, but even beyond sex life is the discussing about Krishna Katha with devotees, and especially when you are able to like
प्रभु
reveal
जी
your.
बाद में सिर्फ रिग्रेट ही होता है। 5 मिनट
Yeah. आपकी आवाज चली गई, तो वही है, मतलब स्लो डाउन करना है हमें, और मतलब और कृष्णा को देखना है उस कॉन्वर्सेशन में, देन थिंग्स विल वर्क आउट। क्या मेरा नेटवर्क चला गया या आप लोगों का?
नहीं, प्रज्ञा माता जी की आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
ओके ओके मैडम,
आप पे तो आवाज आ रही है। मेरा भी, मैं वाइफ से डिस्कस करता हूँ बहुत सारी चीजें जो होती है मेरे हार्ट में, बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू एंगर, देन आई डोंट गेट then I don't discuss anger with her, because that is the reason why I'm angry is because of her only, na. So I don't discuss anger with her.
and we have to take responsibility of our own feelings. Like we get angry because of other person. This is not responsibility. We are just putting blame on, okay, you did this,
She
that's
says
why.
something, I'll become angry. I'll say something, she will say 2 lines, I'll say 3 lines, she will say 6 lines. Then it goes on. There's no EQ. Emotional quotient is taken for a ride.
Yeah, yes, yes. So we should come out of those conversations. We should not motivate those conversations whenever it is going in the negative direction. We should come out of it as soon as possible. So there is a verse, right, in Bhagavad Gita, dhyayanto vishyan punsa sangaste shupajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodho vijayate krodhat bhavati sammoha sammohat smriti viruddhama smriti भ्रंशात् buddhinashat pranashyati. So these two verses are called suicidal verses actually, and it starts from contemplating the sense objects. और वहां से लेके हमारी इंटेलिजेंस का पूरा ही जो नाश हो जाता है वो कैसे होता है वो बता रहे हैं। और इसमें हमारे गुरु महाराज बोलते हैं कि इट इज जस्ट लाइक committing a suicide from a fourth floor building. So whenever you are able to understand, okay, I'm on this line, then we have to retrieve, we have to come back, we have to retrieve ourselves and come back to the fundamentals. So as soon as we can detect it and we can come back, that is our saving. Okay. And ultimately, we have to slow down and we have to connect with our own self, and we have to take association with of those who are connecting with the self, who are slowed down people, whose mood of service is very strong. So slowing down is very important. And in Delhi, in North India, it is even more important because the energy is very high. In South India, the energy is not so high. Like people are very peaceful, warmth is there. So,
That is why I want to settle in South India, Prabhu. Please find me a place.
yeah, wherever you are, try to cultivate slowness, mode of goodness. Yeah.
People, as they advance in age, also they slow down. I mean, as you reach 40 and 50 and 60, people who had been very aggressive in their young age and have been successful also, but they slow down over the years. They mellow down because they know anger से कुछ नहीं होता है. Anger से blood pressure होता है, फिर बाद में heart attack हो जाता है.
Yes, bro. Yes. Yes. Yeah. All the intelligent CEOs of all the companies, they are very, very slowed down, very balanced people who are, yeah, very, very aware of their own emotions. And the key of these persons being slowed down is like they are always having their resources to make them slow down. So they are always talking to people who can help them deal with negative emotions, and they are taking that association. So that's why we have to. A leader has to, first of all, himself. He have to take care of himself. Then he can take care of others. So we have to take care of ourselves. Then we can nourish others also.
Prabhu,
Okay.
I was talking to one very, sorry, I'll just take one more minute. I was talking to one very senior guy, probably a CEO or board of director, and he was saying he interviewed one guy and he asked him that, are you the best person in this world? I mean, most opulent or the most happy person? He said, no, I am not. Then he said, are you the worst person in this on this earth? Are you the most deprived, most unhappy, most no that wretched person in this world? He said, no, no, I am not the most. I'm not the worst person in this world. I'm somewhere in the middle. He said, but are you ready to deal with the situation if you become the worst situation in the world? If the day if you are ready to deal with the world, even if you face the worst situation in this world, then you will definitely progress in life. In life, I mean, I thought these were very good statements coming from a senior guy who has seen life.
Yes, progress. If we are able to deal with ourselves, then we are able to deal with the world. If we are able to deal with our negative emotions, then we can deal with it. We can connect with him and we can deal with our emotional self, our super self. Then we can deal with everybody. Okay, Pragya Mataji, you have to read this paragraph. Good. Hare Krishna. Pragya Mataji, are you there?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, you have to read this paragraph.
There is a statement in the Brahma Samhita: just ride on the airplane which runs at the speed of mind. Our material airplanes can run 2000 miles per hour. But what is the speed of mind? You are sitting at home, you immediately think of India, say 10,000 miles away, and at once it is in your home. Your mind has gone there. The mind's speed is so swift. Therefore, it is stated, if you travel at this speed for millions of years, you will find that the spiritual sky is unlimited. It is not possible even to approach it. Therefore, the Vedic injunction is that one must approach. The word compulsory is used. A bona fide spiritual master, a guru. And what is the qualification of a spiritual master? He is one who has rightly heard the Vedic message from the right source, and he must practically be firmly established in Brahman. These are the two qualities he must have, otherwise, he is not bona fide.
This is also a very important paragraph. Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. So these are the qualities of a bona fide guru that he has heard from his authorities and he's fixed in his spiritual conception. Okay, so I will understanding of this paragraph, and my question to you is that why is the compulsory word, like Prabhupada is emphasizing on the use of compulsory? What does he want to convey? Yes, Mataji, I am asking you. Can you share your understanding of this paragraph?
Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I don't know.
Okay, I asked a difficult question. So basically, we are where our mind is. So if our mind is with our friends, then we are with our friends, even though we might be sitting in Bhagavatam class, right? So that's why the consciousness, present aware consciousness of mind is important. And Prabhupada is saying that if we put ourselves on the mind speed, then mind will take away so many places. And similarly, if we want to experience the spiritual world, then we can travel for so many millions of years to travel all the spiritual skies. But actually, we cannot enter the spiritual world without the mercy of the spiritual master, because more we speculate, more we go away from the spiritual truth. So that's why compulsory word is used to accept a bona fide spiritual master. Eva abhigacche. Tasmat gurum prapadyeta jigyashu shreyad uttamam. Sabde pare cha nisnatam brahmani upashri ashraya. Something like that. So that's why in Vedas it is recommended to approach a bona fide spiritual master with compulsion. Eva abhigacche. So that is what they are saying. That we can understand the absolute truth only by hearing from the spiritual master. Okay, understood now? Does it make sense? So one must approach a bona fide spiritual master. I think if nobody is saying it makes sense.
Yes, Prabhuji, yes.
The Krishna consciousness movement is completely authorized from Vedic principle. So here you will see that Prabhupada is using this technique of compare and contrast. That if you don't have the grace of spiritual master, then whatever you do, how much you try, you will not attain the spiritual truth. So the grace of the spiritual master is very important in attaining the absolute. This Krishna consciousness movement is completely authorized from Vedic principles. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says the actual aim of Vedic research is to find out Krishna. Vedescha sarver ahameva vedya, Vedant krit vede. In the Brahma Samhita, it is also stated Krishna, Govinda has innumerable forms, but they are all one. They are not like our forms which are fallible. His form is infallible. My form has a beginning, but his form has no beginning. It is Ananta, and his form, so many multiforms, has no end. My form is sitting here and not in my apartment. You're sitting there and not in your apartment. But Krishna can be everywhere at one time. He can sit down in Golok Vrindavan, and at the same time he's everywhere all pervading. He's original, oldest, but whenever you look at a picture of Krishna, you will find a young boy, 15 or 20 years old. You'll never find an old man. I've seen pictures of Krishna as a charioteer from the Bhagavad Gita. At that time, he was not less than 100 years old. He had great grandchildren, but he looked just like a boy. Krishna, God, never becomes old. That is his supreme power. And if you want to search out Krishna by studying the Vedic literature, then you will be baffled. It may be possible, but it is very difficult. But you can very easily learn about him from his devotee. His devotee can deliver him to you. Here he is, take him. That is the potency of Krishna's devotees. 2 paragraphs more. So Krishna say Tomar, Krishna dite paro, Tomara Shakti ach. So spiritual masters, they are carrying Krishna in their heart, and when they speak, immediately the Krishna consciousness becomes awakened in our heart also. So that is what Prabhupada is conveying in this paragraph. That the difference between us and Krishna is everywhere. Krishna is in the heart of every person, right? Yeah. And he's sitting in Golok Vrindavan also. He's sitting in our heart also. He's in the DT form also. Everywhere Krishna is witnessing. Okay. By studying the Vedic. So we have to understand about Krishna by hearing from a person who has realized Krishna. Okay, we'll pause here. I think next two paragraphs, both of them you can read on your own. And again, Prabhupada is emphasizing on the acceptance of a bona fide spiritual master in order to understand the Vedic conclusions. Because if we ourselves also try to study Vedas, will not be able to understand. Okay. So did anybody do the homework which Pragya Mataji sent out? Pragya Mataji, you did? Okay, I'll stop the recording. Stop.